Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort
A good-sized
me.
crowd gathered at the Unitarian Universalist First Parish in Bedford on Wednesday, November 9th, to keep the memory of a dark time in humanity's past in mind, so it may never be repeated. The gathering was to remember Kristallnacht, the Night of Broken Glass, and to acknowledge its 78th anniversary. On November 9th to November 10th, 1938, Nazis in Germany torched synagogues, vandalized Jewish homes, schools, and businesses, and killed close to 100 Jews, all while authorities looked on without intervening. Kristallnacht was followed by additional economic and political persecution of Jews and is viewed by historians as part of Nazi Germany's broader racial policy and the beginning of the final solution and the Holocaust. I asked about the tradition of marking the anniversary of this night in the community.
Well, we've been doing this for many, many, many years, Kristallnacht, observing this night of broken glass, the beginning of the Holocaust. And for many years there was a very small gathering here. A couple of years ago when all the swastikas appeared in Bedford, a much larger group came to stand in solidarity with the Jewish community. And this year, of course, the day after the election, a lot of people came to grieve and mourn and just for solidarity with each other, to be together with like-minded people.
Well, we've done this for many years, and I think it's always good to gather together to remember the times that have passed where people did not stand together when we should have. History shows that there are times that the world has fallen to pieces when people didn't stand side by side to say no to hate.
Yeah, well, Kristallnacht is a commemoration of a time when there was massive political violence against a very vulnerable population, and it's important to remember the consequences of hatred and violence when they're allowed to fester. And so I think tonight we gather here on the beginning of the new chapter in our national life, and we're recommitting ourselves to the protection of vulnerable people and vulnerable communities, and remembering that those of us who find ourselves more empowered are especially called to bear witness to those who are not.
During the ceremony, the speakers remained mostly apolitical. Afterwards, however, they spoke of their concern regarding President-elect Donald Trump and pointed to his campaign rhetoric, such as wanting to ban Muslims and deport millions of undocumented immigrants, as a form of the divisiveness they were there to stand up against.
The election last night is very worrisome, and we don't really know what it means for the future of our country. I certainly want to hope for the best, and I want a peaceful transfer of power, and I want to support whatever high ideals Trump administration may have. At the same time, Trump has historically spoken out against immigrants. He's spoken out against Muslims. He's spoken out against LGBTQ people. He's speaking out against disabled people. He's spoken out against women, and it's been very worrisome for many of these people. And many of these people are genuinely fearful for their future, so that I want us to be mindful and attentive to what develops in this new administration, so that we can be defensive of people who are otherwise undefended.
Finally, I asked about having a larger-than-normal group come out to mark the occasion and what those who led the ceremony hope attendees took away from it.
Well, it's really a sign of the commitment of this community to both remember what happened so many years ago, and also to just be together after a difficult day for many. Today was a day of celebration for some and sadness for others, and surprise for many. And I think when that happens, it's helpful to be together across different lines of difference and to commit to the things that we have in common, which are commitments to peacefulness and nonviolence and the protection of the most vulnerable.
There's so much anxiety and tension today that I hope that they've been given a little bit of peace and the feeling that people stand together with them and that they're supported. And that's the most important thing, I think, and to also to understand the lessons of history, that we say never again for a reason, because we need to keep saying that because it can happen again, and the same forces of human nature that caused the Holocaust to happen in the first place have not disappeared from human nature. They're all still there. So we stand in support to stand against those forces that could appear again and cause another situation to arise. Not necessarily for Jews, but for other people.
At the First Parish in Bedford, I'm B News Director Rich Hosford.